Brian Lowe Financial here. We're going to update you on the new rules and regulations when it comes to the Secure Act, which is setting every community up for retirement. So every week we have a web blast on updated information. So the coronavirus, no one knows where the end would be. Every week we have some cancellation on some event that was in the public. We do stuff at the libraries. We do stuff at the restaurants around town. So whether we're in Mandeville, Baton Rouge, or New Orleans, we have offices in those cities. So if you're thinking about retirement or been retired for years, now's the time to come on in for that risk report, that income plan, that Social Security analysis, and see where that would take us. We're going to show you the risk analysis. So no matter who you work with, you may have 2 stockbrokers, an insurance agent, and your local bank, but we're going to tie it all together and see what your risk number is today. So the Security Income Act right now is something to talk about. There's 29 different provisions in the new act that every single one of you is being affected today. So we want to update you that individually. Now look, just because you listen to my talk for the next 30 minutes or so, the question is how do you apply the information? So we want to help you apply the information to figure out what your next step may be. So listen to me on the radio every Saturday at WJBO locally at 1 o'clock on Saturday. If you're in New Orleans, 99.5 FM every Saturday at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then every 10 a.m. on Sunday, 99.5 FM. So again, Brian Lowe Financial here, updating the Secure Act. So there's big changes out there. So it used to be up on the screen, 70.5, so 70 and a half. We had to start taking out some withdrawal. It was about 3.65%, so call it 4% as an average. You got to take out, so for every 100,000, you got to take out $4,000 every year. One option is to spend it. Number 2, give it away. Number 3, reinvest it. So we're going to talk about where you can reinvest it. We all want tax-free income. You want tax-free income, right? So I'm going to show you a way to get 20 to 30% more tax-free income with your assets. Make good, logical decisions going forward. So ask yourself a question. Do you believe taxes will go up or taxes will go down? So obviously, every smart human being believes taxes will go up in the future. Now again, we're going to show you what to do with that money, but the Secure Act is making you make decisions right now. So now it's from 70.5 to now what? 72. We can now defer our IRA payments, the withdrawal, to now 72. So that's a big change. Required distributions, again, 70 and a half to now 72. That's a big, big change. What can that do with your money? Can grow it greater, which leads me back to the risk report. We want to do the risk report. Your mutual fund, your stock, it's getting hammered here the last couple of days. Is this the time to take more cash from your investments or your savings to put into the investments? Or is this the time where you want to reduce some of your risk, take it out of the market to put somewhere safe? We'll talk about just that. Taxable income, when it comes to ordinary income brackets, we're all looking at brackets of 12, 22, 24. If you do a Roth conversion today, you don't want to throw yourself into the higher bracket. So we're going to look at your tax return, see how much we can convert to the Roth IRA, keep it into the lower bracket at maybe 22% or so, or maybe lower. Now, big picture here, it says how do required distributions work. So again, when I'm 70, the divisor says 27.4. You know, when I'm as much as 80, it's down to 18.7. So what that means is, as I get older, I got to pull out more money. So when I'm 80, it's about 5%. When I'm 70, it's about 3.65. So the deal is, as you get older, you got to pull out more money, which could cause you to pay more taxes. So the question is, long-term planning, we have tax now, we have tax later, we have tax-free. So ultimately, what makes more sense for you? Everybody's going to want to lean more towards the tax-free column, which is 1, the Roth IRA, 2, municipal bonds, and number 3 is the wealth transfer plan, which is to create more tax-free income for you or to create more tax-free income for your family. So some of you are going to say, how about a little bit of both? There's a way to do that. We're going to engineer this. There's no one blanket answer here. If there's 35 people on the call today, then ultimately every single one is in a different situation. You have a different tax bracket, you have a different RMD, you have a different life expectancy, you have a different age. The question is, what's your next step? The goal of the call here is to create more tax-free income for you. Now, we know what the RMD tells us. We got to stay in the rules and regulations. It's a tax time bomb on the screen. So you do have a tax time bomb. Why now that you had to listen to some talk like me to figure out you have a tax time bomb when you've had this tax time bomb coming at you like a train wreck from 60 to 70? No one's prepared you for it, but now that you're 70, 72 or wiser, you're now starting to figure this out. Now, why? Now, you should tell your friend, You could call your friend who's now approaching retirement to earn or learn about the problem today and how to fix it sooner than waiting until later. If you're 74 or wiser, it's really possible that you may not want to convert to the Roth unless it's for the only reason to leave the money tax-free to your kids. All right. Now, if you're 74 or younger, it's a high probability you want to take advantage of the new tax laws today. And if you're pulling money out of the IRA, we can convert some of that money now. And we're going to use a math of about 10%. We're going to walk you through a formula. 10% of your IRA, we'll calculate the numbers on the screen and figure out what your next step is from there. So we're walking through the numbers. 529 plan accounts now can be set up for student loans repayments up to $10,000. So that's a big key indicator there. The Secure Act changes to the 401k plans. We can now put safer investments in your 401k. So if you're approaching retirement, you're 55, 60, 62, before 70. Many people still work at 70. Many people do contract work. So what are some safer tools that we can do with your money inside your IRA and 401k? There's a lot more options today with the new Secure Act. So it's exciting stuff. Make it easier for small business owners to implement plans. So 401k, IRAs, there's a great opportunity for business owners. Multiple employer 401ks, you can have different ones there. Small business owners have tax incentives. We're coming out every day with some new tax incentive for businesses. So on the radio this morning, Congress and the President were talking about the new incentives. If you're going to have to borrow money to get you through this tough time, some of that interest is you're not going to pay any interest expense. So they're talking about that. That's one big key indicator. Part-time employees could have access to 401ks when it used to be a full-time employee to get the 401k. So it's now part-time employment. Graduate students and caregivers, so if you're out there taking care of your family, your mother, father, and the sandwich generation, we could ultimately get some IRA contributions and get some deductions along the way. Annuities now are added to your 401k, so good, bad, or ugly. I didn't say you should own the annuity. There's 4 different types. Number 1, the immediate annuity. Throw that one away. That's the old bumper sticker that says, I want to spend my children's inheritance. If you die, nothing goes to the kids. You got a payment for life, but that's not what we want. The second option is just a fixed rate, fixed annuity. It pays a fixed interest rate for a fixed period of time, and that's about 3.65 today. Now, if you wait 30 days, that rate's going to be even lower. So ultimately, you can lock this stuff in, 30, 40-day rate lock. Give us a call. Out of 200 companies, we'll send you a sheet to shop all the different companies around the country. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, call 10 different companies. We'll nail it down in 5 minutes what's the best rate for you. Now, annuities, again, are offered into plans. The third option is the index annuity, a hybrid. You got the upside growth potential. You can't lose any principal. So last year, if the market would have made 20, you'd have made 10. Not a bad deal. 100,000 is now 110, and you wouldn't give that principal back today with the market decline in 2030. You would keep your 10% you made last year. So the bad news is, out of 10 years, you're probably going to not make any money. 3 out of 10 years, but you didn't lose any money. So as an average, 4 to 5, maybe 7% on the upside you could make on that account, and no fee. So those of you out there worried about your cost and fees, there's no fee there. The last option is the variable, and that's probably not the solution you want to choose today. When 20 years ago, when I worked at Chase Bank, that was one of the options the bank wanted us to do. But today, that's not the solution. That was a suitable option. Today, that's not suitable. So if you have a variable annuity, you're not stuck, call me. We'll run the risk report on it, and we'll figure out what your fees are, and ultimately we'll figure out what your solutions could be going forward. Now, the stretch IRA has been eliminated. So on the screen, the stretch IRA is eliminated. We used to be able to, if you passed away, pass that money on, husband and wife. If you die, the money goes to the wife anyway as an IRA. That's still available. As a spousal IRA, the problem is the stretch IRA has gone away. That's if we both pass away. Now the money's going to the children, now over a 10-year time period. So their taxes are going to go up. We have some illustrations on just what implication that has on them. So on their retirement plan, most heirs of an IRA will now have to withdraw the money. It says over 10 years. So we're going to map out those numbers for you. If something happened to you and your spouse, what the children's implications are on taxes. Now look, you created the problem, you don't have to fix it. So everything is inside the tax deferred account. It's a ticking time bomb. Ed Slott, America's IRA expert, we've taken the classwork, we do the work every year. He says you have a problem, we want to create the diffuse the tax time bomb and fix the problem, which means fix it for yourself, create tax-free income for you, and number two, create a tax-free legacy for your children and your family. So here's the 10-year distribution rule. So in the past, on $500,000, before the Secure Act, year one was $14,000. After the Secure Act, is $50,000 that we had to take out of the account. So the remaining account balance was $528 when we only took out $460. The remaining account balance after taking out $50,000, it was going to go down, so it's putting more pressure on it. So if you have money in the market, it's doing what? You're selling more shares at a cheaper price. So the Secure Act could be detrimental to your income plan, but ultimately, year two, it's $15,497 as the RMD, and ultimately, remaining account balance, we're going to have to take out now $53,000 year two. So the question is, the taxable income before the Secure Act on the $100,000 of income, when we take out the RMD of $14,000, their total income on $100,000 is now $114. So it increased, right? That was before the Secure Act. Now, after the Secure Act, their total income on $100,000, because it was $50,000 as the withdrawal, because we're taking it out over 10 years, it's now causing their taxable income to be $150. So it's a big deal. When it was $114, now it's $150, and that's only going to go up over time, which means what? The tax problem is only going to get worse. The question is, what are some solutions that we have? They're engineered, they're unique for you. There's not one blanket answer. This video is to help you understand there's a problem. The question is, how do we fix it? The will, the power of attorney, the trust, everything we did in the past, we've got to revisit that today. Even if you spent your money last week, the new rules have changed. So when we got into 2020 here, talk about historical tax rates. They were extremely high in the past. We can go back to 1950, there was as much as 84%. We can go back to 1990, they were at 28%. The question is, 2020, we know what the rates are today, but what will they be in 2021 to 2025? Most people believe taxes will go up in the future, but look, with the coronavirus and the regulation today, we got to say we got at least the next year to say they're going to be reasonably low. The next 1 to 5 years is going to be a big question if we should pull money or start to withdraw 10% of your IRA. Let's say it's $1 million. We want to do what? Take $100,000 and convert it to the Roth IRA, municipal bonds, or the wealth transfer plan to create 20 to 30% more spendable income in your lifetime. It also would leave a legacy tax for your family. We can weave in long-term care planning along as well. Now, if we just did the Roth IRA, it still did what? Pay the taxes today at a lower bracket with the intent taxes went up in the future, and now we have tax-free income. You'll be darn glad you created a side fund. That's all that's what this is a side fund that's growing tax-deferred and is tax-free upon withdrawal. And if I pass away, it's tax-free as well. So estate planning, the Roth IRA is one good rule. Now look, retirement income math is real simple. If you pull money out of the Roth IRA up here, and you annually withdraw $36,000, you know what? Monthly is $3,000 versus a joint account at a 22% bracket. Now we're only getting $27.40 a month, so it does make a big difference. The better answer is the Roth IRA. The question you're asking yourself is where to pull the money from. Every single one of you are going to want to pull money from the Roth IRA, which is what this is up here. We're going to show you the problem and then show you how a solution to fix the problem. So again, the IRA at the bottom, take out $36,000 a year at a 27% bracket. Ultimately, you only net $19.20 a month. So again, if you're looking at that, you would rather $3,000 a month tax-free versus $19.20. It's a big deal, right? It makes a big difference long term. And we got to make changes to your current plan now. What you did in the past, we got to update the changes. Look, it's very common for 50 people to be in my class. These are smart people like yourself going through life changes, and you can't afford to lose any money and a disruption of your income. So let's face it, the stock market, if you have 20% or more of your money in the market, you're concerned about the market, the economy, where it's going. We're having a shutdown. The question is, how long can restaurants be shut down? How long can the stock market do what it's doing? I'm optimistic. I'm also realistic to say it's now time to dust this stuff off to figure out our next step, right? You know, how will you address the Secure Act? We want to walk you through the legislative issues and what your next step could be. If I'm looking at tools, we want to do number one, run the risk report. So on the screen, it's going to tell you what your risk number is. So let's say that says 60. We have a 95% probability of what? The market can do well. So on $560,000, this person can make another $130,000 On 560, 23%. That's great. The other option is what? They can lose money, $69,000, negative 12%. Now, we know the expectation on return. On here it says 10%. Now, this person's taking a lot of risk to get that return. Do you want to take more risk or do you want to decrease your risk? Most of the time when I see a 60, the expectation on return is more like 3 to 5. So again, you're taking more risk today to get a lower return. The question is, what are some options to create more income and less risk? Our purpose here is to increase your income, lower your risk, and ultimately at the same time lower your cost. We'll tell you how to do that. So we want to get every single one of you the risk report. It's going to be printed for you individually. So like this one stock carries a risk of 86. It's going to tell me what you could make and what you could lose. So it says you could make 38%. It says you also could lose 20%. So again, how can we lower that risk? We'll make some tweaks to do what? Not tweak it up, but tweak it down to keep more of your hard-earned money, right? So that's a risk report, which will lead into the next thing. The next thing is going to be, should you convert money to the Roth IRA? So here it is, qualified account, how much is in the account? Kyle is going to run a risk report for you, number one. So he needs the investments itself. You're going to email in your statement on your 401k, your IRA, no matter who holds the money, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Edward Jones, it does not matter. You might have 3 advisors. We're an income advisor. We're going to do what? The risk analysis and ultimately consider and question, should you do a Roth conversion? So here it is. Look, you can spend your own money, but we spend $1,000 for this tool every year, so you don't have to. So as many times you want to come back and do just that, or run the risk analysis and the Roth conversion. So here's $500,000. So let's say the $500,000 is right here, tax later. We know that at 72 is you can defer till 72. You got to take out about 4% at 72. The real question is, before I'm 72, should I convert money now to this bucket, the tax-free bucket, which is now the Roth IRA? So here is $500,000. We're assuming a 25% tax bracket. We're figuring a 5% growth rate. The question is, what's the potential tax impact on that? So here it is. On $500,000, the total taxes paid on RMDs at the time of withdrawals is $161,000. So how much money do you have in your IRA? We're going to run your report, because if there's 30 people on the call right now, then everybody has a different report run for them. So it's engineered just for you. And now the taxes paid on the reinvested RMDs is $45,000. And the taxes paid on remaining account at death, so if I pass away, another $93,000 in taxes. So on $500,000, that's as much as $300,000 in taxes paid in their lifetime. Swallow that. Now think about that for a second. Would you rather pay $125,000 in taxes by converting the money to the Roth IRA? So it's taking it from here, tax later, to tax now, or to tax free. The solution is, let's go ahead and do what? Pay some taxes along the way to create more tax-free income for me, and ultimately, which is for you, and then ultimately, if you pass away, the money goes to the family. That's more tax-free income for your family. So now, if I convert on the $500,000, I'm now paying $125,000 in taxes, and the money grows tax deferred. So in this category, it's tax-free, and then ultimately, if I pull the money out, it's a tax-free solution for yourself. So more income, tax-free, and then again, if you pass away, there's no taxes upon death. Now, again, you're going to get your report. As soon as you get off this call, you want to get your statements, email those in to Brian at brianlowfinancial.com. You can also send that to Kyle, so Kyle at brianlowfinancial.com. And if you want just the risk report done, that's your stocks, bonds, mutual funds. That's Nicole at brianlowfinancial.com. So that's their job to get that for you. And again, I'd rather pay only $125,000 in taxes versus over $300,000. So it makes sense, right? Every CPA comes to the same conclusion. Every engineer comes to the same conclusion. Every tax attorney comes to the same conclusion. So we're going to help you diffuse the problem. First, you got to do what? Identify the problem. So like the old man with a bad hip, that's my buddy. He limped around his whole life from 19 to 45. And at 45, we would make fun of him enough to say, hey, it's hard for you to get on this boat today. You're in pain. Why don't you go fix the problem? So like you, a lot of you, the problem has to get bad enough to want to fix it, but ultimately, how much taxes do you need to pay to Uncle Sam before you want to really fix the problem? You care about your children, you care about your family, you care about yourself. This is more about you to create more tax-free income for you. That's the big picture here. Now, I know it's tough to see. We'll kind of make it a little bit bigger if I can, but up here on the screen, On 500,000 at 70, the divisor is 27.4, which means that's 24,428 we got to take out as income. Ultimately, that's 18,000 after tax. The remaining account value is 664,000 because it had a 5% growth rate. Ultimately, the RMD went after tax 18,000. It's going into now a tax now account. So you're going to create more capital gains tax with a stock, a bond, or a mutual fund. If you go over here, if we put into this column here, tax-free, anything it grows and makes will be tax-free upon then. So if it passed away, it's tax-free. So do we want to create a tax now account? Probably not. I'd rather have a tax-free account going down the road. So that's definitely the solution. We know that when I'm now 80, we know that the 500,000, as it's grown at a 5% rate, is over 554,000. We know that the RMD went up because I'm now 80, and now I'm taking out 31,000 minus tax. That's the 23,853, which again, that could go into this bucket over here, and now is worth of 285,000. And the IRA itself is still here, worth over 500,000. If I pass away, the family gets this money, but now it's got to be payable over a 10-year period. So now they can take out that 500,000 over 10 years, 50,000 a year. It's going to cause more taxes for your family, and ultimately we could have had a better solution with this money, the tax now, and we could have it in this bucket here, tax-free. So there's a better solution. Here's the math. Here's the engineered equation. You're trying to figure out what your next step is. We know what the solution is. We just need a little bit of time with you. It takes about 40-45 minutes individually as a first visit, which will punt to a second visit, which would, in the second visit, we're going to have the detail printout of the risk report. We'll have the printout of the Roth conversion, and we'll know what your next step is from there. So again, like class, a lot of you spend 3 weeks with me to figure out the who question. Who's the answer to your problem? Is it your local bank? Think about that for a second. You know, you don't see that person again in 2 years, 3 years. They change quite a bit. Stockbroker, 25-year friendship. We break 25-year friendships all the time with Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, good companies. Why? Because these brokers are now 65, 70 themselves. They're retiring themselves, and now the client does not want to work with now the new young broker that they say, why didn't the old broker tell me about these solutions? Now, you can't fault the stockbroker for being called a stockbroker. That's what they do, is they put 70 to 75% of your money in the market. And if you did that just right now, you did what? You probably lost 30% of your nest egg. So my clients, out of 500-600 people I work with, yeah, we're getting a few calls, but overall, very few. Why? Because they know that 70 to 75% of the money has already been protected. So if we have 15, 20, 35% at the most of the market, they're not worrying with that small piece of the money because the lion's share and their income has been protected. So if you're looking for more income, I'm the income man. I'm going to help increase your income, lower your risk, and again, lower your fee. Now, do-it-yourselfers love to come in. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, I want you to come on in for a second visit, and it's really easy to do what? Identify one way to lower your taxes. Identify one way to increase your income. Identify one solution to leave a legacy tax for your family, and then who is going to take care of your wife? So if you're the do-it-yourselfer, does your wife know where to log in to get the passcodes? The answer is no. If you pass away, we want to do what? Hold her hand through a tough situation. We want to do what? Guide you through the new tax laws. We want to do what? Increase your income and create tax-free income versus taxable. So again, the big picture is, let's give you some solutions. Again, we'll back up a second. The risk report will be given to you. The Roth conversion report will be given to you. The Secure Act rules and regulations, we can email those to you. So all the slides we just went through, we'll be happy to email those to you. Ultimately, a one-on-one video conference with you. We'll do a web-based Zoom discussion. All you need is a computer and or a laptop, and you can see me on the screen, and we can do this from your home. So you stay at home, we do the meeting here, we do a video conferencing. So you want to call in the next 10 minutes, email in your stuff to Crystal at brownlowfinancial.com, Nicole at brownlowfinancial.com. That's the risk report. Or you might even see Kyle. Kyle is one of our associates, and ultimately he will walk you through all these solutions. Quite frankly, I'd rather you see Kyle first, get all the information, get the reports from Nicole, and then now, like the physician, I'm walking into the last 10, 15 minutes of the meeting to do what? Cut the cancer out, figure out what the problem is, solve the answer, give you some solutions. There won't be one option, it'll be 3 options. There'll be 3 solutions for every single one of you. The question is, what is your next step? So Kyle's going to help us do that. We're going to end here shortly, the next 2 to 3 minutes. So now you want to do what? Think about where your money is, understand the risk, figure out what the next step is. No one can tell you that how long this coronavirus will last. The economy is being shut down, but your money does not have to be shut down. You want to create and keep getting a consistent income. If you have a mortgage, the question is, should we pay off the mortgage, right? The question is, should we lower that rate? If you're a business owner, we may refinance you. If you have a house and you got $75,000 left to pay off, and you're paying at a 3 or 4% rate, we might get a lower rate. So if you're concerned about refinancing, give us a call as well. That's about it for our talk today. So again, I'm Brian at Brian Lowe Financial. You want to look at our website, brianlowefinancial.com. If you were scheduled to take our class, 3-week courses, we'll be doing those as a web-based program here coming up. We have more than one class. We have 3 classes to take. We have a tax class, we have a financial strategies class, and we have another group of session of class work. So we'll give you 3 or 4 solutions. The question is, which one do you want to take? Where are you in your life? If you're not sure, give us a call. Kyle can walk you through which class is best for you today. Secure Act is a big deal. Come on in, don't delay. 6 months will fly by. Yes, we'll be through this, and you won't even remember what coronavirus was, but you do need to worry about your income and where we're heading now. Again, Brian Lowe at Brian Lowe Financial here. Looking forward to doing a web-based meeting with you coming up in the next 10 minutes. Looking forward to hearing from you.